Good morning and good afternoon to folks across the country here. Thanks for joining us for another Sedaru Live webinar. Give everybody a minute to get signed in here, and we'll get started. For those of you that are new folks to some of our webinars that we're doing, thank you for joining. Hopefully we'll see more of you here. To a lot of our returning people, it is great to have you here again. I'm glad you could take the time to be with us. What we've got planned today, we're going to be talking about fog inspections, fat, oil, and grease, and kind of overall how that helps you better manage your sewer collection system, and then really how Sedaru is applicable to that and some of the ways that can help with that entire process for you. So I'm excited to do that. We're content-wise, length today should be right about between 20 and 30 minutes. We'll see how many questions you have. We'd like to keep these pretty brief, keep them to the point, give you some good information, and then let you get on your way. For those of you that are new to the Zoom webinar interface, I think almost everybody I know has now been on a Zoom meeting in the last 3 weeks. So you probably have some familiarity with how Zoom works, but what you'll notice is in the webinar interface there's an extra button in there that says Q&A, and the way that you ask questions, hit on that Q&A button, put your question in there. I'll see that pop up on my screen on my end, and as the questions come in here, we'll just go ahead and get them answered. So this is meant to be as interactive as you would like it to be, so don't be shy. Feel free to ask questions. It tends to be better for everybody when people kind of pipe up with things and are looking for more information. So we're happy to share that with you. Happy to answer those questions as we're going forward. If you haven't already, take a moment, pull out your phone. Go look for us on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or however you like to consume your social media. Take a minute and follow us or like us on those social media channels. We're consistently posting new information up there as well too, and it's a great way to be able to kind of easily interact with us in here as well too. We talk a lot about this idea of drops with Sedaru, and if you've attended these before, you're familiar with the idea. But it really is, drops is our stepwise approach to how we can help utilities deploy technology and to be seeing maximized benefit from it, and to help put you on a path to being a more automated, self-driving utility. And it's really our implementation approach and our software approach is really built around this idea that you're going to move incrementally forward. And so it starts with the idea of how do I do things digitally, and think about how do I use that data in real time. And then once I'm doing that, then I've got this ability to start working smarter, right? Where I'm going to optimize what I'm doing. I'm going to be able to predict and see problems before they happen, and then hopefully be preemptive. One of the things I love about fog programs is that it really gives you that, done well, you are really heading problems off at the pass, right? And but it kind of embodies a lot of the things that we're talking about here in terms of how do I collect that information digitally and do it quickly, and then be able to put that information to use. So let me start here. I like this screen that you see up in front of you here. It's really, to me, it's interesting when you talk about a sewer collection system, and 99% of the world, really does not think about what happens when they flush a toilet or that water goes down the drain, and all the things that go into making sure that makes its way to a treatment plant, and all the sort of pieces that go into this. And so, this is Sedaru Omni that you're looking at, which is really an office-based application. It lets you see all the data together and to be able to view and interact with it. And so I can see in here, all the details of my collection system, what's been cleaned, and CCTV footage, and then here fog inspections. that we're gonna talk about today. And really that's the idea, right? That we're going to proactively work with all of our food service establishments or FSEs and going to help make sure that they're doing best practices, that they're following, in most cases, what's a regulatory rule that's going to require proper disposals of those fats and oils and greases and capturing of that and helping keep that out of the collection system. It's a really interesting time right now, I think, to be thinking about and your FOG program and your collection system. In most cases right now, over the last few weeks, as almost all commercial, food service establishment places are seeing significant declines. If they're not closed, they're certainly not doing anywhere near the volume of places that they are. In some cases, right? But you're still seeing the vast majority of like public schools are still producing lunches and those things that are open every day. They're still doing many places are still serving food and doing all those pieces. But then you combine that with the fact that in most collection systems we've seen the sort of typical diurnal peaks, right? The sort of morning, evening kind of diurnal peaks have just been destroyed, right? There's the commercial usage is much less. People are at home. There's not a morning rush to get in the shower, et cetera. And you're seeing, and then of course on the commercial side, just vastly declining flows. And so you end up with sewer systems that are in many cases are having a lot lower overall flows and subsequently lower velocities. Those high velocities in sewer systems are really important to be able to scour and kind of self-clean and on our pipes. And so none of those, we could see a lot of those problems getting worse. And then you kind of combine that with, all the issues around toilet paper and all kinds of other things getting flushed down in your collection system, and you're potentially having a lot of issues and problems. So I think right now is actually a really good time to be thinking about how effective is your FOG program and what you're doing. Right? Are you doing that? Is there ways right now that there's an ability to proactively do more stuff to get your arms wrapped around those issues and to do it? And so that's what I'm going to encourage you to do here. So we'll kind of hop into the software and talk a little bit about how this works. So it's really going to start by having all of your food service establishments, all the folks that you have permits on, set up and brought into your system. Now, what's neat is I'm going to just zoom into a couple areas here, and right here within Sedaru, and you'll see that this is what Sedaru is built off is using the GIS, right? And so it is built off of Esri technology. So the idea is that when you're creating and managing your FOG program, you're not necessarily reinventing the wheel within Sedaru for that, but hopefully you're leveraging all of the building information, all of this sort of pieces that you already have in your GIS. And Sedaru is designed to tie in directly to those pieces here. So I can come in here and I can click on, I'm going to click right on this building here, and we can go in and check it out. So this is actually a school here, right? So here's a school that kind of, like I said, could be still, going ahead and producing food every day and doing some of that. And I can have all the information about that particular item here available to me from the field to be able to see what's going on. I can come in and we can look at another building, right? And here's another, bar that's a bar and grill restaurant that's right near there as well too. So really easily on the map, how can I see what's been, what's there and what's done? And what I'm actually looking at here is all FOG inspections that have been completed in the last year. So within Sedaru Omni, I can really quickly at a glance see what's been completed, what hasn't been completed, and be able to take action right from there, and to be able to work with places. What's cool here too, I'll go back to this one. So let's say I wanted to actually schedule a FOG inspection from here. If within the Sedaru interface, to kind of schedule inspections and tasks is pretty straightforward. I have the item selected for me on the map right here, and I can come in And what I'm going to do is hit that little man working symbol to create the, to bring open this assignment form. And then I can just come in and say, okay, hey, what would I like to do? We're going to do a fog inspection here. And it's a really similar process for just about anything you're going to do on the collection system side for scheduling work and pieces. And then I can figure out who I'm going to assign it to. And we'll do that piece in here. And then I can come in and if there's other pieces I want to fill out, I can do that within here as well too. What's nice here too is you see the recurrence piece down here, right? So again, depending on how you administer your fog program and how you want to do things, you can go ahead and set up recurrence intervals on all of these. And if you've got, so I could be setting up, once a year, I'm going to go do all of this, right? And so as part of that initial setup, you do that once, and then it's there for you forever to be able to create those, or you don't have to necessarily recreate the work orders, and it's just going to kind of help running. It's going to help kind of keep the trains running on time and making sure that those particular pieces are done. And so I go ahead and once I do that, that's going to be scheduled. The nice thing is now that's going to automatically show up on the device of the person that you scheduled to go do that inspection. And so they can then from there run with it and be able to complete the inspection. And I'm going to show you how to do that here. And what I'm going to actually do, I'm going to show you what this looks like doing it from my phone. So I'm just going to switch what I'm sharing here real quick. Give me 1 second here, and then we'll pop open my screen on my phone, and we'll take a look at that. Now, it's interesting. I like using the phone for a lot of things as it relates to, well, let me walk you through the phone interface. But the phone is nice because what the phone enables me to do is the phone enables me to really to have something that goes in my pocket, right? So you think about different tasks and activities that you're doing. Sometimes you really want the tablet. You want the big map that comes with the tablet. I want all the sort of other, that big form factor. And then there's a lot of times where just using the phone works out great for you to be able to do some of those things. And so, so that's kind of what I wanted to show you here. And, for that piece of this. But so the way the phone interface works, I log in and immediately it shows me tasks that are assigned to me. So I've got two fog related tasks that are assigned to me. If I touch on that tile, it's now going to pull up a list for me. It's going to show me exactly what the items are that I need to worry about there on that list. And then I can toggle between the map and the actual device, the actual pieces there. And what's neat is I'll just touch on where it says 2. And so it actually is going to show me on the map the exact location of where those items are located. And what's kind of cool here too, if I hit the little location button in the lower left-hand corner, it's going to zoom me into where I am. And so I can actually see where I am relative to where these have to take place, right? And so it's really fast and easy for the staff to be able to figure out how to get to where they need to go to do this work. Let's see. And I did see we got a question that popped in. Let me walk through this, and then we can talk to some of the details on the question. It's a little bit of a lengthy one. So if I want to go in now and complete my fog inspection, I got a couple different ways. I can just touch right on the icon there. It's going to pop up for me. And from there, I can go right into the actual inspection, right? And so if you have a lot of information, all those pieces can be displayed, and you can have all that stuff available to you. If it's something new or it's unknown or whatnot, you're going to see blank stuff that's in there. And it's really up to you. And you can control and configure all the different pieces that are in there. And so whatever fields are showing up and all of those pieces. And so we can come in now and we can start our inspection. What's cool is you see a bunch of things already kind of pre-populated in there. This is one of the part of the power of using the using the GIS itself in here, because with the GIS, I'm able to pull information in directly that's already exists and have it as part of that overall inspection record, but you're making it so that your folks in the field aren't spending a lot of time having to retype things or do a lot of duplicate entry and all of those kind of pieces in there. So then we'll go through the form. I'll tell you, this fog and form that's here is a little more lengthy than other ones that we've done and set up in here as well too. I kind of like showing it though, because you get an idea of you can basically you can really set this up to do just about anything that you want. One of the things you can do as well, and again, this kind of depends on your setup and how you want to administer your fog program, you can actually build logic into all these forms as well too, so that, you know, and have it kind of branched off, so that, you know, if I've got a certain type of grease trap, you know, here's 3 different things that I want to check for that particular one. If I've got a different one, I got that, right? And it's really up to you. I like to encourage people generally start simple and grow it from there, because you can sometimes overcomplicate it a little bit, but the flexibility is all there in the software to do it. So we can go ahead and we can, you know, fill out some of these pieces in here. I'm just going to go through. One of the things that's nice in here is that you notice as I'm going through and filling this out, I'm answering a whole bunch of like yes and no type questions in here, right? And because what you're hopefully able to do is you're able to go ahead and be able to, you're able to hopefully standardize all your recording of information that you're going through here, right? So I'll just fill out a few things in here. You see, I'll type in a couple stuff. If I have calcs that I want to do in here, I can have this set up to do all those pieces in here as well too. Essentially, you know, go through. Now you notice there's a bunch of things in here that are a lot of fields in here, and I can make some of them required. I can make some of them not required. It really, you know, it's really up to you. But then what I really like is at the end here, I can come in and say, let's grab a picture of it here. We're going to use the camera that's right on here. We'll just take a picture of my computer monitor here that we were all just looking at. We'll use that. We'll use that picture in here. And now that's going to become part of the record of this particular item. And again, it's nice because I'm doing it all just right from my phone here and can fill it out right from here and essentially be done with it pretty quickly. I'll hit next. I've got the ability, if I wanted to, in here, if I was keeping track of time and material equipment. I mean, obviously on a fog inspection, I'm not going to probably be using materials. You know, maybe equipment, because maybe I want to track to the truck that I'm using to do it. But, you know, maybe I want to put some time in here for some of these things. And so I can go ahead and I can say, hey, I spent, you know, an hour and 15 minutes at this place. And again, I think it's especially nice on a fog program, because it's one of those things that's kind of a mandated inspection that you've got to do. Attributing time to it can be kind of difficult. And you want to, at the end of the day, be able to roll up to stakeholders and board members and some of these things to say, hey, we spent X amount of hours this year out there doing fog inspections, you know, and have people really understand what those pieces look like. Once I complete that, you see it then shows up here in the asset history. The attachment that I have in there shows up as well too. So I've got a really good, you know, physical record of all those pieces that are in there, and I've got that available to me. If I toggle back to my map, you notice that turns green on the map for me as well too. So from a completing things in the field, I get instant feedback, and I get to see, okay, hey, this worked, this was uploaded, etc., and it's all there ready for me. What I also like here that's nice is that from a field perspective, because I'm using this through this interface with the map, I get access to a lot of other information in here as well too. So if I wanted to see information about the neighboring pipes in there, I can just toggle back here, select pipes so that they now become selectable for me in the map. and I can come in and touch right on that segment of pipe, and I can see information, about that particular pipe right from there as well too, right? So you're giving your field staff the all kinds of history and the ability to kind of see what's going on. And I can go in and say, hey, what happened last time this line was cleaned? Okay, it was cleaned, December 30th of this year. How did we jet it? Et cetera, et cetera. And I can have all that information, right at my fingertips. And I'm doing it right, from the phone, which is unbelievably handy for a lot of folks. All right, let's, well, hang on, I'll leave this up here, and let's, let me take a look at this, this question in here. Let's see. Oh, is there a method of identifying one work order from another? Oh, gotcha. Yeah, good question. So let me think. So yes, of course there really is. So one of the things you can do, and let me switch screens. Let me go back to that main interface here. And I gotta stop sharing here. So let's go back here. All right, you should see that screen pop back up here again. So one of the things I can do, let me go back here. So here you see, it's a really good question. So basically, here's this long list of fog inspections that are in here, right? And the descriptions that are in here just say fog inspection, right? And so the question was like, how can you differentiate, one thing from another and all that? And there's a couple different ways. I mean, what most folks tend to do, I'm not sure why on this particular setup that the customer didn't want to do that, but you can control all the information that you're seeing displayed here, right? So I could have an address that shows up here. I could have a food establishment name showed up in here. They elected to just have this ID. I'm not sure if that ID means something to them, and that makes the most sense. But it's really up to you. So you can control all of those pieces that are in here. What's also, if I go in and drill into one of these and then hit the little location button, it's going to bring me to that spot right on the map here. So I'm at the Papa John's restaurant that's right here. And so I could just as easily have that, or this address, or any of these pieces that I'm already storing in my GIS could be part of what displays there for the overall for that overall location. When I'm also sort of looking at this map, that in this case, right, there's a lot of different things showing up on the map. I can hit this little filter button in here, and it will also at that point just filter things out. So if I was just wanting to look at some of these details here for some of the fog pieces, I can do that right from here and see the information about that. And then here I can go in and drill in and look at the last fog inspection and see the information from it here as well too. So it tends to be pretty easy to navigate. The other thing I can do in this Omni interface is, instead of just looking at things on the map, I can actually come in here, and here I switch from the map view to my trend view. And so what I can do here is I can actually take all of my fog inspection, or take this performance tile, which is really a set of key performance indicators, and I can drag that down into here, and I can then get a view of what does my productivity in this case look like. You can use this for a lot of other things as well too, right? So if I'm looking at the main cleaning, you can see, hey, what's my footage look like every day? I could also have it tied to SCADA information or other pieces of real-time data, and have those kind of things displayed in here. But now I can see, every day how many fog inspections are getting completed, right? So if we look back on these, particular days, they're getting to these things. And it looks like, every week they're banging out some of them, and then, sure enough, over the last few weeks, you see the numbers. The numbers dropped off there in terms of the number of completed fog inspections. And so, but from here, I can also create a report that's going to spit out for me all of that, all the information that's related around that. Let's see. Yeah, and and the question that comes in, talking about it looking different on the phone versus what you see on Omni, and that's really kind of intentional, right? So you can, and it's really up to you. So the one of the things that you can do is control and have different views for different workers and different staff, right? So if I've just got folks that are working in the office, they might have a view of things, and then I can control exactly what the folks in the field see as well too. And again, it's really up to you. There's a tremendous amount of flexibility there in there. Let's see, a couple of other questions here as we get down on time. In terms of other devices, beyond the phone, so I could certainly be using a tablet. I mean, the most popular device across our customer base that folks are using is iPads, where you do have a little bit of a bigger screen with you certainly have a bigger screen in the map. You can view the map and all the work order information side by side, and that's really useful. iPads are great because they're simple for people to use. I mean, even your most kind of computer illiterate field staff will be able to take iPads and be able to work with them. It's really pretty remarkable to see. We also have a lot of folks that use Windows tablets out in the field as well too. That tends to come from, depending on what the requirements might be of your IT department. Sometimes the IT department says, hey, we only want to administer Windows devices, and so we have a fully compliant Windows 10 field application in there as well too that lets you be able to touch screen. It works really the same. Windows is a little bit harder to use for a lot of field staff, so sometimes we try to recommend people towards iOS, but it's really up to you. Let's see. So we're running out of time. If you got any other questions, let me know, and we'll get those answered here. One of the other pieces that I think is worth noticing and mentioning is that from an implementation perspective, we have both GIS and engineers on staff that have been responsible for FOG programs in the past. And so we've got expertise of being able to help folks get these things set up and to help move them into a really digital format. Because one of the things I'll hear sometimes from folks is like, wow, this looks really cool, looks great, but we're not ready for that, or our data is not in a good spot for these things, right? And when we're talking about taking data and being able to get it into a digital starting place and to do that, it's something we're really good at, and can typically find ways to do those kind of things really cost effectively for folks, and to be able to do that. One thing I'll note too, for everybody that's attending today, you'll get a follow-up email to this webinar. One of the things you'll get in that follow-up email, there'll be a link to a recording of it as well too. So you'll be able to share that with others that you work with, and to be able to show other people. We're also happy to do a more customized kind of demonstration of this as well too. So for your organization, for specific, other specific things that you have, we're happy to answer specific questions around those pieces in there as well too. Well, good. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to join us today. We're continuing to plan more of these short webinars like this over the next few weeks. So stay tuned to your email to keep out for that. Or as I said at the beginning, if you're signed up on social media there, you'll see the notifications pop up on there too. And sometimes that's the easiest way to register. You have a few minutes on your phone, and you can just go ahead and click on the link. It should have saved your information. You can kind of just easily sign up and go from there. Okay, one last other question here. So the question, which is a great question, does this pull information from ArcGIS, or does the information, like pipe cleaning and video inspections, need to be manually inputted? The short answer to that is Sedaru is designed to pull information directly from ArcGIS. It is, so we're Esri business partners. Sedaru is built on top of Esri technology. We've got multiple options in terms of how you want to configure things from an infrastructure perspective. So we maintain our own Esri environment that you can host information in, if that makes sense to you. And a lot of our smaller customers do that because they don't necessarily have the IT staff and some of that to do that. But if you've invested in the Esri technology and want to leverage it more, you can set this up so that it's directly linked to your enterprise ArcGIS environment, and it's pulling information from there, and then also subsequently writing information back into there. So all the information that you're writing and collecting within Sedaru is also getting stored in an Esri geodatabase format, which makes it really easy to be able to, again, sort of use that in all other places across the organization. So lots of different options there, and we've sort of got the infrastructure options that can work for the really large, kind of tier 1, tier 2 kind of big utilities, and then we've got customers that serve as a few thousand people using Sedaru as well too. So it scales really nicely to just about any size of organization. Well, great. Thanks, everybody. Again, let's see. Oh, one more question. Is there a way to enter the fog inspection besides entering from a Sedaru interface? Well, I mean, good question. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, if you were using like a hybrid kind of environment, right, and you had Sedaru, I mean, Sedaru can be set up to consume just about any set of data from the GIS, right? And so I can have data that's flowing into there from other sources and then be able to view and see that information in Omni. It's really just a matter of, is that the most cost-effective way to do some of that? And, depending on what you're doing. But yeah, if you already have like an application out there that you're doing fog inspections and you want to see the data in Sedaru, then really the trick is to figure out how do I link that data up with GIS, and then it's going to become accessible in the Sedaru environment. And again, that's something that our implementation team is really good at helping to figure out those kind of things, and can do that. Well, good. Thanks, everybody, for your time today. Look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. And everybody stay safe out there, and look for more communications from us. We're here to help and to help bring everybody forward. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your day.